What's going on, and welcome back to the channel. I know fantasy football. Don't believe the hype of Sam Darnold. First and foremost, let's give it up to the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they're playing well these first two games. So, you know, don't believe the hype. Don't pick him up. Don't add him as a quarterback. Um, let's just see if he's the dark horse this year. Sam Darnold has been a nobody for several years. And when he came from USC, we thought that this was going to be the next Tom Brady. So do not believe the hype when it comes to Sam Darnold. Also, if you don't know, you need to know now. Make sure you look at Derek Carr and pick him up. He's on the waiver wire. Go and pick him up because Derek Carr is playing amazingly this year. Derek Carr has always been a pretty good quarterback. So if he is on the waivers, go ahead and try to add him to your team because I believe that now just looking at the Saints this year, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, maybe even in the top five. Last week, going against a supposedly a good defense of Dallas Cowboys, Derek Carr threw for 2 touchdowns and also ran a touchdown in. So may want to add him to your team if you don't have a quarterback one. Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston is the number one receiver for the LA Chargers. Justin Herbert is hurt right now. Everybody's hurt. Let's just put it like that. Everybody's hurt when it comes to the game of football, it seems like. So, you can't go away without having some type of injury from a player that may be either questionable or out, or missing some time. You got to think Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson got hurt. Christian McCaffrey is going to be out for about 6 weeks. We're seeing players getting hurt early in the season. Some of these players, they've had a history of injury. So you need to keep that in mind too. But it's just it's crazy how many people, how many players are hurt or getting hurt and having to miss time. Cooper Kupp, I watched that Arizona Cardinal game going against the LA Rams. And I could tell when Cooper Kupp wasn't really doing, he wasn't 100%. I could tell when he was hurt. And I was like, oh man, here we go again. Cooper Kupp, the now number one receiver since Nakua is out. And they had to remove him from the game. So you got Dante Johnson. You got Ty Chandler or Ty Johnson, whatever, Dante Robinson and Ty Chandler that you can pick up or on the Rams. Now, if I mess up the name, excuse me. I'm kind of tired, but anyways, we're gonna just keep pressing forward. Do me a favor, go ahead and check out my channel, man. I try to talk fantasy football. I love the game of football, especially NFL football. College football, I get into as well. Big shots out to my Louisville Cardinals, even though I am wearing an Oregon Ducks shirt. I like Oregon Ducks too, but I just like to watch some good football. And what's going on with Florida State? Wow. It's totally different team in the ACC than we've seen in previous years, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking fantasy football this time. What's going on with the tight ends? Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce? These were the number one and number two tight ends coming into the league this year. And what we're seeing right now is it's a struggle, man. It's really a struggle. It's slim pickings when it comes to the tight ends. You had Mike Gesicki and Zach Ertz being one of the top tight ends for the second week. I don't know what's going on with the tight ends, but it is what it is. That's the game of football. You have those players that will always be consistent. However, they will have a backslide where you don't know if you need to put them in the lineup for that week or not. I can definitely tell you that there is something going on with Patrick Mahomes because he's not the caliber of a quarterback this year than he's been in the past. Just think about it. Last year, Patrick Mahomes was pretty much the number 3 quarterback to come off the board. Right now, he's like ranked 10th. So we just it's a crazy season this year, and it's going to continue to be crazy because of all these injuries that are impacting teams. With Tua Tagovailoa being out, Skylar Thompson, he's crap. So they're looking about bringing in Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle. And I mean, that might help out the team a little bit, but I'm kind of worried about my guy Tyreek Hill. I do have him on one of my teams, and we'll see. We will see. But some running backs that you may be able to think about picking up, which there's not very many. If depending on what kind of league that you have, if you have a 10-player league, you have a 12-player league, you can look at Jalen Warren if he's still out there, Jaleel McLaughlin if he's out there, um, Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson had a pretty good game against the Seahawks. He ran hard. So there are some players out there that you can pick up. I would shy away from any Carolina Panther player, shy away from them. The fullback slash running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, uh, uh, something Steele or something like that. I really don't know him because, I mean, heck, Isaiah Pacheco, he was the guy. Now he's going to be missing some time too. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Tell me what you guys think in regards to the injuries this year. Um, you do have some of those players that are questionable, but questionable is scary because it depending on what kind of injury that they have. And I talked about this in my previous video. Any injuries with the legs, hamstrings, knees, ankles, hey, those are questionable players because they can always tweak that injury or injure it even worse than what it is. So if you have questionable players out there, you might want to look at the healthy players that you need to put in because it can never fail. They can go in the game, they can play two quarters, and the next thing you know, they're out for the remainder of the game. So you have to be careful with that. But you know, I I'm just I'm beside. It's just so crazy right now of how these players are getting hurt. And of course, it is the beginning of the season, so a lot of these players they didn't play through the preseason, which I don't like. But it is what it is. I'm not the GM. I'm not the head coach. Um, these injuries are starting to impact teams. Joe Mixon got hurt. Isaiah Pacheco, like I said, he's going to miss some time. Who else got hurt? I mean, AJ Brown's going to miss some time. I mean, come on now. What's really going on when it comes to the game, man? I mean, these players cannot stay healthy, and it's really impacting teams, especially if you drafted Justin Jefferson in the first round, and now he's hurt. Uh, you might want to pick up Josh Naylor. Jawan Jennings for the San Francisco 49ers. You might want to look into him because Debo, he's not 100%. I heard something about Brandon Ayuk, and I really don't know what's going on. I have to check up with that, but it's just a wild season already starting off. But it's still early. It's still early. Some players they may be able to play this week. However, that remains to be the question when it comes to the teams and the players that you picked up. So keep an eye on that and pay attention to that. Check out your waiver wire. I mean, pick up Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry, he is basically the number one receiver for the New England Patriots. If you can pick him up, he's probably going to be the only player besides Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. And Antonio Gibson's on the fringe. I wouldn't just say, hey, I'm going to pick him up and put him as my number two running back on my roster. Antonio Gibson had a pretty good game. However, we need to see if this is going to be consistent. So just add him to your team and see how his weeks go. Tight end wise, I mean, Hunter Henry is going to be the number one if he's out there, and he's out there in a lot of leagues. Mike Gesicki and Zach Ertz as well. You can look into those guys in regards to the tight end team, in regards to tight ends, because I mean it's very slim picking when it comes to tight ends. It's very slim picking when it comes to running backs, and I mean in the quarterback situation, you can have one quarterback on your team. That's cool, but I will get that second quarterback because it's all going to be about matchups as well. And if you have someone like Dak Prescott and you want to pick up Derek Carr, that's that depending on their bye week. Okay, go ahead and pick him up because you can interchange them. I picked up Baker Mayfield and he got me like almost 40 points last week. Derek Carr, I think he pulled a 60 on my league in my league, and that's some good numbers. We do the PPR with bonuses when it comes to the game itself, but look to trade too. If you think that you need a strong running back, look to trade for Alvin Kamara because he's having a great season so far. Look to trade for Nico Collins because he's doing and he's looking really good so far in the season. I mean, look to trade for Josh Jacobs. He had an amazing game last week. But if you think that you need a player that may be healthy and that may get you points and be consistent, offload some players that are in question. Big name players. Offload Justin Jefferson. And get you a decent number two receiver, but maybe a number one running back. You can try to do that. There's always, when it comes to the game of football, it's a game of chance. So I think I'm done here. But if you are still with me, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I know fantasy football. Why don't you go ahead and join the channel? I'll post weekly in regards to the game, and I'll post in regards to players that you may want to add to your team or people to look out for. It's rough out here right now. It is definitely rough, especially with those players that we thought were going to be the number ones and they're injured now, which really hurts our team because players that we picked off the first round or even through the second round or even through the third round, I mean, they might not be playing right now. They might be out for 2 or 3 weeks or even more longer, So yeah, join the channel. We have fun here. Post in the comment section what you think. Who do you think is going to be the dark horse this year? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? I don't know. I mean, he's looking pretty good right now. I mean, Atlanta Falcons just got to win against the Philadelphia Eagles, which their defense is questionable. But yeah, join the channel. Tell me what you think. Post in the comment section on what you think in regards to what's going on with these injuries this year and players that we weren't expecting to be doing good that are actually doing good. So, like I said, come on and join me. Peace.